DevOps friends, how are you doing? Happy Friday, everyone. Welcome to Monospace Mentor. That's me, Jochen, and this is my office hour. I'm still alone in the house, and the weather outside isn't really bad, but it's not too great either, so what better to do than answering your questions? That's what I'm here for the next hour or so. If you have any DevOps questions, stuff about software engineering, system administration, IT career questions, everything that is around IT engineering, feel free to ask. Where do I ask you? Well, post it to qa.monospacementor.com, which is my Q&A platform. Asking your questions there makes it easier for me to not miss any, and I can also get them on screen easily. And on top of that, you can even upvote others' questions if you find them interesting as well. So yeah, go to qa.monospacementor.com. You don't have to log in, you don't have to leave your email address, anything like this. Just go there, post your question, and I'll give my best to answer it. I'd like to be helpful. I'd like to give back to the open source community, and that's one of the ways I'm doing that. I hope everyone has a great day so far, and if that's the case, let us know in chat. Other than that, I have my coffee. I'm pretty relaxed and chill. So I'll sit here and wait for questions to come in. By the way, hi Prexeus, lurking in the background, getting things done. I'm so happy about yesterday because, yeah, yesterday morning I already got a few things going, and in the afternoon I did my co-working stream in which I also got a few things done. I even finished my task that I still was working on when I wrapped up the stream. I wanted to get my WordPress website running in development in Podman so I could try and see if I can get the WordPress CLI tool working that I could use to update my plugins, because that was necessary. And it took me a few more hours, but then I got everything working after figuring out how to share volumes to Podman so they are actually writable and things like that. And in the end, I was able to pretty quickly, more quickly than ever, update the 10 or so plugins that needed updates on the monospacementor.com website. And yeah, I'm going to use that in the future. And since I'm going to build a Docker-based deployment for our Drupal and WordPress hosting platform that my company is running anyway, that was a good way to get into the nitty-gritty with Podman and things like that, and how to share host directories as volumes and things. It was a little bit more complicated than I anticipated, but in the end I found out what I was doing wrong, and everything worked out nicely. Let me try and get my Linux tablet going correctly. I might even be able to use that when I answer your questions. For that I need the pen, I guess. I'll have to take care of that. Oh, that's why this is also small, because we didn't switch on fractional scaling. Okay, that's much better. Wait. Yeah. So let me see. Again, if you want to ask questions, and that's what this stream is about, I won't do anything else but answer questions. If there aren't any, I won't do anything, and it'll be a very chill session. But if you have any questions, post them to qa.monospacementor.com while I'm doing a little bit of housekeeping here. Has everyone already left for the weekend, or what's happening here? Nobody's asking questions. Looks more like everyone's working, huh? RJ is working. Hi, RJ. Maxeus is working in the background. Everyone's busy. Well, I don't begrudge you that. Getting things done before the weekend. Well, in the meantime, I'll experiment with getting my drawing surface going. Let's see, I need the other mouse, that's the downside of things. So I can move this here, make it full screen. Oops, why didn't it go full screen? All right. Busy bees. Admit it, you just want me to look bad. Everyone's working, and he's just sitting around doing nothing, twiddling his thumbs. Okay. This works. Would work better with the pen, and I'll grab that in a second. Oh, the pen won't work if I don't mirror my display, though. Good thing that I thought of that. So I do need to mirror my displays after all, which means they'll have the same resolution, which gets things a little bit out of whack in terms of the touch screen, I'm afraid. Yeah. Yeah, now we have an offset. That'll make drawing harder. Okay, I guess I'll have to experiment a little bit with that. Okay, let's focus on what's important, and that is your questions. Over on YouTube, Pidgeottis asks, thoughts on Microsoft Certified Azure Developer Associate? My company wants me to get it because none has. Well, if your company wants you to get it, get it. It's as easy as that, especially if they pay for it. I think certifications have a different amount of value depending on where you are in your career. And it's a little bit of a bell curve. Because at the beginning, when you're very junior, certifications don't tell an employer much because, of course, they need someone who is able to... Well, engineers are... The job of an engineer in general is to solve problems. And a junior that has a certificate just proves that they can get a certificate. That doesn't mean that they can solve real-world problems. So if all you have as a junior is a certificate or multiple certifications even, that just tells someone, yeah, he or she can learn stuff and do questionnaires. That's not much from the perspective of an employer. Then there's the middle part where you are junior, senior, somewhere in between. That's when certifications can nicely augment your growing skill set. Of course, you should still be able to prove that you can solve stuff, that you have experience with specific software engineering or system administration tasks, things like that. And if on top you can have a certification that is a little bit of the icing on the cake. The cake still is your skill set, your knowledge, your other, what's usually called soft skills. And if you have a certification, that's the icing on the cake. The more senior you become and the more years of experience you have, the less valuable are certifications, because by now you should be able to stand on your experience, your expanded skill set, your big spectrum of know-how, and spending time and money on certifications doesn't really add anything of value to that anymore. So that's my general stance on certifications, and I certainly need to write a blog post about this. Peter says, I'm a senior DevOps, but they want me to get it because we can get projects easier because they can sell it to customers as we are certified. Of course, makes perfect business sense. And in that regard, why would I ever say, don't do that? It doesn't do you any harm. And it'll benefit your company because they can say, we have certified engineers that we can throw at your projects. And I mean, it's always a nice entry on your resume as well. So go for it. In this case, it might be more of a marketing feature than a knowledge feature, or 50-50, something like that. Doesn't take anything away from its value. Great question. If you too have a question, post it to qa.monospacementor.com. Ooh, someone's following my my stream. I did have great vacation. That's also a question that I'm happy to answer. Unfortunately, it was just a week, and I recently talked to a neighbor, and he said, yeah, 10 days is about the sweet spot, and I agree. A few more days would have been great, because we had, of course, as it always is basically in Spain, very nice and hot weather. We did actually do the siesta where we didn't leave the house between 10-ish and 4 p.m.-ish, simply because of the radiation coming from that huge unshielded petawatt fusion reactor. And so we went swimming early in the morning at about 8 o'clock, which was brilliant. The sun was still coming up, and the beach was completely empty. Water was already nice temperature, and that was great. And in the evening, even though the beach was, of course, much more crowded by then, it was still nice, and I had a lot of fun. Turns out, even a very mediocre swimmer like I can spend a lot of time in the water if it's properly salted. And so I had a lot of fun. The kids had even more fun with snorkeling. They discovered lots of fish of all kinds of sizes. And they even found a starfish. They didn't pick it up or anything. They left it in peace. But of course, that's a great find as well. If you're snorkeling and you can see, oh, there's a starfish down there. That's amazing. So yeah, it was also very convenient. We had some kind of a how do I describe it? Let's say a hut. It was basically a yeah, let's leave it at hot. I'll struggle with describing it properly. On a camping site where other people went with caravans or mobile homes, and
it's a Unix system. I know this.
Only Element, thank you for the follow. That's very kind of you. And so yeah, we spent a week in that campsite, which was a huge campsite with its own supermarket, ice cream shop, and everything you'd want. And So yeah, great time. As I said, 10 instead of 7 days would have been great as well, but we'll keep that for next time. And the place where we were was near Tossa de Mar in Spain. There's a question that sounds surprisingly similar to the one I answered before, but let's get it on screen anyway. I suppose the person asking it only joined in the last few minutes. Thoughts on certifications? About to dedicate a month of my life to getting my CISSP, but might go for some vendor-specific ones first, Microsoft/Azure or GCP based. Yeah, we basically had the very same question just a few minutes earlier. As I said, certifications are helpful if you are a little bit into your career, and less helpful if you are at the beginning of your career, where you need to first build up experience and know-how instead of certificates. And at the in the later part of your career, you don't really need certifications anymore, because by then you should have built up a skill set and a huge spectrum of know-how anyway. And you should have proven that you got this. In the middle, especially if you are still on a junior level and approaching the senior level, or you want to level up into senior, then certifications can nicely augment your growing skill set and your growing know-how. I said earlier, it's basically the icing on your know-how cake, and it's definitely a good investment then. The person, Pilchardus, actually asking the earlier question also mentioned that their company wants them to have this certification, and that's of course beyond the personal benefit. A company can of course also benefit from having engineers who have certificates. For example, they can tell their clients, if it's a consulting company, for example, or a software development company, that they have certified engineers, and that might be a marketing feature as well. Okay. Thanks for the follow anyway. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. As always, if I don't answer your question detailed enough, please follow up with another question and ask something more specific. I'll be happy to elaborate on any topic that we're discussing here. And I agree on the element, or Pilchardus. Twitch seems to be a little bit nicer of a stream environment. It's definitely my primary one, but I added YouTube simply to make people aware that this stream actually exists, and it seems to have worked with you. I'm going to repeat what I keep repeating on these Friday streams, which is, if you have any questions, qa.monospacementor.com is where you can ask them, where I can get them on screen easily, so people who are just joining know the context of what I'm talking about. It'll make things a little bit easier than with chat. Also, it's much easier for me to keep track of the Q&A over there without stuff scrolling off without me noticing. On a meta note, I'm a little bit disappointed that I couldn't get my Linux tablet integrated to my streaming setup here at first attempt. It worked a little bit better with the iPad because the iPad seems to retain its original resolution but scales it down for the HDMI out. Here with the Starlight tablet, the opposite happens. It scales it zooms into the actual tablet display to get HD resolution and then just mirrors it for the HDMI out. And since the display gets scaled up, this screws up the tracking of the touch surface, and so drawing on the tablet doesn't work properly anymore. I'll have to see if I can resolve that, because it's always nice to be able to illustrate something using a pen. I guess if necessary, I can always fall back onto Excalidraw, but being able to drawing. Only Element asks, what is your newsletter all about, considering signing up? The newsletter is about all kinds of stuff that I find interesting. It's definitely DevOps related, and it consists of what I call the mentor monologue, which is basically a column that I write on a specific topic that crossed my path. And I'll always add updates from the server room, my membership community, and a few reading recommendations. For the next newsletter, I've decided to split things up. I'll post the reading recommendations to my blog and then simply add a list of my recent blog posts to the newsletter, so you get everything right into your inbox, and you can click on all the articles that you're interested in. Thanks for the kind words, Praxeus. And if you want to have a few practical examples, the newsletter page on my website always lists the 4 latest newsletters that you can then read and get an impression yourself. That's a great point, Praxeus. It's also not spammy, which is also important to me. I want to be helpful. I want to help the open source community, people in the open source community to grow as DevOps engineers, and that means not being annoying but helpful. Which should be common sense, but apparently isn't. Just noticed, Praxeus, you wrote that you have frozen video. Maybe try reloading your browser, or does anyone else have video or audio issues as well? Everything seems to be working from my side of things, but that might be deceiving. I had no idea. Thanks for the feedback on the element. I mean, great minds, am I right? Proxys asks, are all issues client-side if you're a consultant? Well, I guess so. Because it's either a client problem, or if you are the problem, you're still client-side. Especially if you are an on-site consultant. For everyone new, this is the Monospace Office Hour. If you have any questions, because that's why I'm here today, to answer your questions. If you have any questions, post them to qa.monospacementor.com. Corbin Pro says, hey Jochen, hope things are going well. Do you mind me asking an open-ended question about observability? Of course I don't. That's what I'm here for. Feel free to ask. I mean, you can ask in chat, but I did appreciate if everyone would post their questions to qa.monospacementor.com. You don't need to log in. You don't need to leave your email address to get spammed or anything. But it'll make things easier for me because I can get your question displayed nicely on screen. So everyone who joins the stream mid-answer knows what I'm talking about. And things can't scroll off as easily as they can in chat. But if you're just on your phone or something like that, it's of course perfectly okay to ask in chat as well. And yes, things are going very well. After my week of holidays in Spain last week, I came back to Ireland here alone because the rest of my family traveled on to Germany to meet family, where I'm going to join them mid of next week. Until then, I'll be manning the fort, enjoying peace and quiet.
It's a Unix system. I know this.
Hussein, hey! Thanks for the follow. Yeah, so I'm enjoying peace and quiet and try to be productive, which is also not quite as easy as I thought. Without the adult supervision of my wife, it's easy to procrastinate and slack off. And yeah, I'm at the moment trying to muster all the discipline I can to get things done. By the way, Corbin Pro, you asked about asking an open-ended question. Those are the best questions, of course, because they open up a lot of possibilities for discussion, for follow-up questions, things like that. So open-ended questions are the ones I like the most. It's really hot in here, 28 degrees in my office. Need to switch on the fan. Outside it's only about 20-21 degrees, but with all the machinery here in my office, it's always 5 to 10 degrees higher than outside. Sorry. Since I don't see Corbin Pro's question yet, I wonder if they're writing an essay. Still typing. I'm getting more and more curious. Take your time. Is there still coffee left? Yes. Only Element says, yeah, I just swapped a few cables in the home lab corner and I'm sweating all over. Yeah, that's of course the hottest corner in the office for me as well. That Precision 5820 blows a lot of warm air out. As happy as I am getting this machine as my home lab server, there's a tinge of regret or bad conscience because, of course, this machine draws a lot of power and creates a lot or generates a lot of heat. So I keep wondering if I shouldn't have gotten one or three of those mini PCs instead. But of course, I also got it because it has four hard disk drive slots, hot swap bays, and that made it possible to build a nicely sized NAS. C, Only Element, does it the other way around, which is much more power efficient, running a few Raspberry Pis and a mini PC and a laptop. Yeah, you'll probably, with all those machines, you'll still be below the power requirements of my home lab. I guess there's always a downside. Mini PCs, of course, aren't as easy to extend to a multi-terabyte NAS. If Covin Pro's question is that long already, I wonder how long it'll take me to answer it. And that's where there's one benefit, only one of the many benefits of the server room, my membership community, where you can become a member for the price of a Twitch subscription, and you'll get back a lot more than you get from Twitch, because with a membership in the server room, you get access to a great and inclusive community platform, to lots of people who are very competent and friendly. You can also take part in our community events, which are going to ramp up again after the holiday season. And you can even get free access to all my courses if you get the higher tier of the gold membership. And so that's definitely an advantage. And if you would like to check it out, go to theserverroom.sh and read up on everything that's on offer there. One possibility is then, of course, you can take your time writing a forum post about your question or the thing that you'd like to share. You can take as much time as you want, and as opposed to chat systems like Discord, on our the server room forum, your question will not just scroll off into oblivion, and people can even add helpful answers weeks or months after you posted the question. So that's only one of the many perks of being a member in the server room. If you'd like to support me financially, please consider becoming a member, because that's going to be a win-win for both of us. So here is the long-awaited question that Covin Pro asked. I'm a software engineer for a SaaS company that sells machine learning pipelines for R&D engineers. In a nutshell, we allow users to gain insights about the systems they are building by utilizing data they collect and building insights based on the data. Our pipeline is quite complicated, and we run stuff in cloud / Kubernetes. We have many moving pieces, pods starting and stopping, some models training, data processes, etc. Yeah, I can imagine. However, we have pretty much no visibility into what is going on. We have Elasticsearch for logs. We can use kubectl and stuff, but that does not work well because developers cannot recreate or plot what exactly happened when in production. In a perfect world, I would imagine some kind of observability platform that would draw pipeline stages, relevant links to Kubernetes entities involved, etc., so that even non-technical person can draw some conclusions on whether the pipeline was too slow, for example, or failed at a particular stage. Question: what technology/framework can be used to build that? Wow, that's a great DevOps question because, yeah, that's a real-life issue that many people have, especially when they start scaling their platform. When you have a lot of components in a distributed system or in something in a data processing infrastructure as Corwin Pro just described, then the observability problem becomes bigger and bigger. There are, of course, commercial solutions for that. Honeycomb would be probably the one that comes to mind first, and that is one of the most capable ones, where you can feed a lot of observability data, a lot of metrics and things like that into the system, and then you can actually slice and dice that data, correlate events and things like that, and that'll definitely help you pinpoint where there are bottlenecks in your infrastructure, where queues keep filling up, other things like that. Or you can also assign service level objectives and get alerted if one is not met, things like that. If you don't want to pay for a commercial platform, of course, you can try and build it yourself. If you're running a Kubernetes infrastructure, for example, the first thing I can come up with is installing Prometheus and Grafana, something like InfluxDB, where you can have Prometheus and its many metrics exporters generate the data. You can pipe it to InfluxDB for archival purposes. You can use the Prometheus Alert Manager combined with PromQL queries to get alerted about stuff, for example, about disks filling up or the specific event queues getting longer and longer because processing isn't able to keep up, things like that. That's definitely a first approach if you want to go the DIY route. If you have a big enough wallet, I would definitely recommend taking a look at Honeycomb. And if you'd like to build things more yourself for budget or curiosity reasons, then I'd definitely start with Prometheus, Grafana to visualize everything, the Prometheus Alert Manager, maybe combined with an alerting platform like iAlert to get alerts, and InfluxDB to store metrics for a longer term to be able to still analyze them at a later point. I was actually thinking of another aspect when I started reading your question, because you said you sell machine learning pipelines for R&D engineers, where you gain insight about the systems they are building by utilizing data they collect and building insights based on the data. Wouldn't that be a great approach to apply to your problem? Using the metrics that, for example, Prometheus and its many exporters create, feed them into an ML engine, and have it slice and dice the data and come up with observations that an engineer might not even make. Observations like these separate events are always happening at roughly the same time. So there might be a correlation, or something like this metric keeps growing and will reach a certain dangerous threshold in 4 weeks' time if this trend continues. So training a machine learning model to find trends and correlate events would also be a great thing, and for many it would actually be a great product to sell as well. Oh, and you actually followed up with preferably hosting that ourselves. I want everyone in the company to gain insights of what's happening in production with reasonable level of detail. So yeah, the Prometheus approach would probably be at least the first one that you could take. And you also said, yep, we have all that. I think the most problems are actually related to how to visualize and explain to developers the events of the pipelines, such as this pipeline stage started, finished. Grafana is good, but I'd imagine Datadog-like solution would be more relevant, though it's very expensive. Yeah, there are, I guess, yeah, there are always commercial alternatives to the open source solutions that I mentioned. They might actually be built on the same foundation. Something like Datadog is, of course, very mature, but as you say, it's also very expensive. For example, my company is running a managed hosting platform, and we run hundreds of Linux hosts. And at one point, I considered using Datadog for our whole observability. But when I thought things through and created a little spreadsheet, I realized that it was way out of our budget. And since they are charging per host, that wouldn't have been feasible for us. Only Element says, since I rebuilt my home lab, I'm planning on setting up Kube Prometheus stack once again. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I mean, it's so easy to get Prometheus going in Kubernetes. It's basically just a Helm command, and it's very little effort for pretty much effect. And only when you approach the limits of that solution, it would probably make sense to look for additional solutions that can augment your existing infrastructure, but Prometheus will carry you quite a bit of way. That was a great question, Cohen Pro. Thanks for that. Everyone, keep asking. I'll be around for at least a few more minutes. It's almost 3 o'clock here, but I'm happy to go over a little bit. If we have enough questions, that is. Only Element says we use Zabbix in my previous company and I really loved it. I can relate. Zabbix is definitely a great solution. It's also one of these solutions that are really easy to get set up, and you get a very mature solution that goes a long way. Zabbix is more in the traditional monitoring segment and less about metrics analysis and things like that, but it does have features like that as well. I really loved Sensu as a monitoring system. Unfortunately, their licensing also became pretty prohibitive for us, and that's what led us to switching all our monitoring and metrics collection with Prometheus and co. Any more questions? qa.monospacementor.com is where you can leave them, where I'll pick them up, and we'll try to come up with something useful. I think I picked a very nice playlist for today's stream. Don't you agree? It's very mellow and calm. Just like you want it on a Friday afternoon. While we're waiting for one or two more questions, I'll share a little win that I just noticed yesterday. I'm using an Elgato Wave XLR for my microphone here, and for the microphone it always worked great, but it also has an audio out, which is convenient in the way that it can combine the PC's audio out with the microphone so that you can actually hear yourself talking. Not that I would need that, but it's a nice quality of life feature. Unfortunately, that never worked with my Linux workstation, because as soon as I tried to also use the Wave XLR as our audio out, things start to fall apart. And so that's why for the past few years, I only used it as a microphone interface, as an audio in. And just yesterday I decided to try and see if it can actually work as an audio out as well. Maybe in the meantime something has changed, and it actually did for some reason, and I can only assume that it's an improvement in Pipewire or in the whole USB subsystem of Linux. Now it works nicely, and I can actually use it as both audio in and audio out. It works nicely with the Shure microphone that I'm using, and so I'm very happy about the outcome. It might actually mean that I can disable the built-in audio of my workstation and simply use the USB interface of the Elgato Wave XLR. Not in any way sponsored, just wanted to share something small that made me happy yesterday. Only Element asks, what OS are you using? I'm running all my machines, my workstation machines, that includes my desktop workstation and my laptops, using Bluefin, which is a derivative of Fedora Silverblue, an atomic Linux distribution that is especially built for developers and engineers, and Bluefin is absolutely great. And maybe over the weekend, if I find the time, I'll try and install it on my Starlight tablet as well, because I'm so happy about Bluefin. It's got all the benefits of Fedora Silverblue as an atomic Linux distribution, but it's much more full-featured because the Universal Blue team, who's behind the Bluefin distribution, is basically a bunch of developers, and they realized, okay, we always install the same stuff on Fedora Silverblue, what's missing out of the box, and so they built Bluefin as basically the variant of Fedora Silverblue that comes with all the stuff a developer wants, which is quality of life features like the solar let's call it driver for Logitech mice, where you can actually configure all the buttons and things like that. That comes out of the box. A few GNOME extensions that are very useful come out of the box. You can also get a variant that has the proprietary NVIDIA drivers out of the box, which is important, especially for my desktop workstation, because I got a 3060 in there. So yeah, Bluefin is definitely something that I recommend to everyone who still wants to hear it from me. And we'll see if I can get it running on my Starlight tablet as well. I bought that with the stock installation of Ubuntu 24.04 because I wanted to go the safe route, but in the meantime, I learned that there are people who successfully installed Fedora Silverblue on the tablet as well, even though it's not officially supported by the vendor. And so I'll definitely try and get Fedora Silverblue installed on there. And then I can simply rebase the Atomic operating system installation to Bluefin and get all the goodies that I'm already used to from my workstation and my laptops. Again, not sponsored, but I'm a huge fan of the Universal Blue team and especially the Bluefin project. All right, it looks like we ran out of questions, so let me see if there is someone we can raid. And we'll wrap things up. Let's see. Oh, there's someone who I haven't raided yet. There's Hannylicious, and they're doing Django SAS exploration with Python and Django. So I guess we'll simply go and raid them. So, thanks for stepping by, and thanks for asking questions. This was a lot of fun. I hope you'll have a great rest of your Friday, and a great weekend as well. I'll be back next week with my stream on Tuesday afternoon, so follow the stream if you don't yet. And we are going to raid Hannylicious. Say hello for me. And until next time, take care.